Drink it in, man.
I am terrible at impressions, which is why I didn't do that one, but I've been a fan of Chris Jericho for a long time, and that includes following his band Fozzy for years. Formed back in 1999, Fozzy has been an inconsistent part of rock due to Y2J's wrestling career, but now in 2017 we have the band's 7th full album, Judas, headed by a big single with the same name. That self-titled single, when I first heard it, invigorated my interest in Fozzy, as up to this point I had never really gotten completely behind the music. Judas the song was what finally hooked me, and this is coming from a person who saw Fozzy live in 2005 back in St. Louis, so it's not like I was never willing to jump on the Fozzy train, it's just I never felt compelled to. Now with Judas the album, I feel like it's time to really jump in headfirst and see what Fozzy can bring in 2017. I'm already aware that they have two amazing guitarists in Rich Ward and Billy Gray, and the guitar work for the most part of Fozzy's career, even though there have been member changes, has been the unexpected strong quality that shines in Fozzy's music for years. And as a true salesman that a professional wrestler is, Chris Jericho hyped up the new album with a big statement saying, if this was 1988, where there's an album like Hysteria or Appetite for Destruction that has 4, 5, 6 singles, this record has the potential for that. A 5 or 6 single album has big aspirations alone, but comparing it to classic albums is another beast in itself. And while there was some original argument on what the lead-off single should be, the title track was given the preferential treatment, and I couldn't agree more with the decision. I truly feel that this is the best song Fozzy has performed across several albums and every radio single they've ever released. After a long time, this is a song from Fozzy worth getting excited for. Putting aside the catchy chorus with Jericho's delivery, the rhythm guitar carries such a steady groove that it's hard for this song to not get stuck in your head. There's a great pace to it, and it fits easily with radio rock. Not only does it start off the album on a great note, but it's arguably the best song on the album. Unfortunately, with that statement, it can also be argued that since this is one of the best, if not the best track on Judas, that there isn't much to get invested in. Even the following second track and single, Drinkin with Jesus, feels like a step down and a bit repetitive in comparison. The groove and the rhythm is still there with help from a good performance from Billy Gray, but the punch is lacking, especially with some somewhat generic lyric writing. As you listen on through the album, there will be some highlight moments where the energy picks up like in Painless and Burn Me Out. A majority of the album, Judas, however, feels like a consistent chug-along riff that, while never jarring or harsh, outside of an awkward inclusion of a rap feature in 3 Days in Jail, it's just hard to really rock out with outside of some strong rhythms. I think songs like Burn Me Out and Judas show the highlights well, as they allow Jericho to get a little bit louder at moments while still getting that hook in the chorus. It's fun rock and roll. There is unfortunately some filler in the album though, with the generic writing. A while back I reviewed Arch Enemy's latest album. While that album had very little to sink your teeth into lyrically, the amazing guitar work and metal behind it made up for that in droves, along with the vocal performance. In Fozzy's Judas, the shortcomings aren't saved by the music. The talent is there, along with the history and charisma of Y2J, but it just doesn't stand out as strong as I had hoped. Nothing in this album is truly bad, and there are a few good songs worth revisiting like the title track, but so much of this is instantly forgettable. Coming from someone who has followed Fozzy for over a decade, I wanted to like this album more than I ended up liking it. I understand the appeal, and to those that love it, don't put me on the list, but I wanted more after hearing the title track, and in the end, I feel like Judas the song was the only strong track on the album amidst many other songs that are okay, but not great. Overall, Judas is a decent enough entry, but will leave many rock fans wanting who are expecting more after hearing that title track. It's on par for their previous works in all fairness, and that's not a bad thing, but for those who were hoping this would finally be something great from Fozzy, you might feel a little bit betrayed.